Hi folks, today we're going to be changing the front near side drive shaft on this 1.2 2004 Renault Clio, so keep watching. Right, okay then, this is a little Renault Clio, my son's car, and he's actually sold it now, so it's got to go for an MOT, and the drive shaft has a problem on it. One, that the CV, the outer CV boot is damaged, and it's been damaged for about a year now, so since the last MOT, so the chances are it's got loads of grit inside it and it could damage the drive shaft. Now you could change the boot, but we're going to change the drive shaft as a matter of course, because he has another problem as well, which is the ABS light has come on the dashboard, and as you know now with the new laws, you're not allowed to have any indicator lights on the dashboards now that are warning lights, and the ABS light is a definite no-no. And the reason why is that the indicator light for the ABS has come on is that this drive shaft has something called a Reluctor ring or a tone ring, or you may have heard of it called the ABS ring, on the end of the drive shaft, and it's a 44 tooth one. You've got to be careful with this model because I think there's two types, so make sure you actually count the teeth before you change your drive shaft, or actually change the actual reluctor or tone ring. And this tone ring or reluctor ring is actually split. As I said to you, you can actually change them, but for the sake of doing the job properly, he sold the car now, it's going to a friend of his, so he's just put a new drive shaft on it. So the first thing we're going to need to do is to loosen the road wheels. We're going to loosen the centre hub nut for the drive shaft, and we're going to do that while the car's on the ground, because once it's in the air, that hub nut in the middle is really tight. So we're going to just crack the nut now, jack the car up and take the road wheel off, and I'll see you in a minute. Right, okay then, here's the drive wheel off now. I like to slide the drive wheel just under the car as well, even though it's on an axle stand, and I've still got the trolley jack there as well, so it's well supported, just in case something did happen. And now is also a good time to have a look at your brakes as well. Now I've had these off not so long ago when we done the lower ball joint on this car, and if you look in the playlist you'll actually find that video as well. And as you know, we've cracked the drive shaft nut now, and all we've got to do now is literally undo the drive shaft nut. You've got two lower ball joint bolts at the bottom, which I'll show you in a second, to undo. And at the gearbox end there's 3 retaining bolts that hold the drive shaft in via a big plate, and we've also got to undo them. So first of all, I'm going to undo this big nut now. This is a big 30mm nut, and as you can see this is very tight. This is why I had to do it while the wheel was on the ground. Another way you can do it as well, if you do jack the car up and you're in this situation, this is a ventilated disc here, you can stick a screwdriver through the ventilated part of the disc there, and when it comes to lock, it will lock itself on the caliper there, for example. That's another way of undoing it as well. But let me just undo this now. Now you're supposed to replace these every time you undo these. They are tapered thread on them, like a pinch thread, so they do go on tight anyway. But you should get one of these new with your new drive shaft anyway. If not, then you either got to buy a new one or use the old one again. Right, let me show you the bolts underneath which we've got to undo for the lower ball joint. Right, okay, we're underneath the front hub now, as you can see, and we've got these 2 big bolts which hold this lower ball joint here to the actual wishbone there, as you can see. So we've got to undo these, and on the one, well, because I changed this is a new ball joint I put on a while ago, and when I took the original ones off, the original nuts were 18mm, and you have to get a spanner in the top there to hold back as well, otherwise the whole lot just turns. These are nylock nuts, and the ones that I put on with the new kit were 19mm, so depending on what ball joint you have, if someone's replaced it in the past, you may have different size nuts. So I'm just going to undo these now, and I'll have to hold back on the top there, and then we'll free this ball joint so that we can swing this out of the way. Right, well, as you can see, this bolt is extra tight. Not really enough leverage with this little wrench which I've got here. I've got the spanner sitting on top there, the 19mm. You say yours could be 18mm, but I'm having to just hold my hand on the top so that the nut doesn't come off. And I've got a long lever on here, as you can see, and I've lubricated it as well. So do make sure you wire brush these bolts down before you attempt this, and make sure that you've got a long lever and a spanner that fits very, very well, and a socket that fits very, very well, because these are very, very tight. And as you can see now, I don't need that now. I should just be able to undo that now with the wrench once it gets past the nylock bit or the end of the thread. There we go. So that's one bolt out, and very tight it was too. So I'm not going to get the other one out yet, but as I say, make sure these threads are very clean before you attempt to do this. Crack that up first. There we go. It'll go so far and then it'll start to spin. Yeah, the nut's spinning now, so I've got to get my spanner in the top there again. Plug it right through there. And you literally have to hold it on there as well. There we go. Till it locks in place. There we go. Right, there we go, that's that. And as you can see now, that means we can pull this right out of the way. Now what we need to do now is to drift out our drive shaft now out of the hub so that we can pull that hub right out of the way. Now don't go hitting that with a hammer. You could put your nut back on until it's virtually level and then give it a whack, but I've got a copper hammer, so I'm going to go and get my copper hammer and hopefully push that through. So I'll see you in a minute. Right, okay, so I brought that out just in case I needed it. So hopefully it shouldn't be that tight. In fact, it's starting to move already. There we go. It's bouncing now, so hopefully just pull that out of the way. Should be able to pull that through. There we go. That's it. And if you can see here, this is our damaged Reluctor ring. Let me show you. And as you can probably see there, see that split there? That is the damaged Reluctor ring. These, you can change these. You can drift these off. If I pull that on, yeah, look, you can probably see it's rusted off anyway. Look. So if I was just gonna, if I just had an ABS light up, these things crack. And this one, as I say, is a 44 tooth one. But do check that you've got the right amount of tooth for this Clio, because it could be, I don't know what the other figure is, but there is two. But you can see where they rust. They rust around here, and then they crack, and that brings on your ABS light, as you can see. So you can just change that if you've got an ABS light on. But because this boot had come off in the past, and there's no clip on it, and he's doing it for a mate, he's going to change the whole drive shaft anyway. Here now, I don't know whether you can see or not, I don't know if I can get it good enough on there for you, but the other end of the drive shaft, you've got one nut there, you've got one nut over that side, and there's also one underneath, so they've got to be undone, them 3 bolts there, and then you can pull the drive shaft out, and then we can just replace the drive shaft. So I'm going to do them 3 now. I'm not going to show you that because it's a little bit awkward for me to get in there with a camera, but I'll show you when I actually come to pull it out, so I'll see you in a second. Right, okay. These gearbox drive shaft nuts apparently appear to be 13mm, and again, one of the biggest things you're going to have is access, gaining access to it. So I think the easiest way for me to do this is with some extension bars, so bear with me. Right, okay, got some extension bars now, hopefully make life a little bit easier. There we go, on there like that. And tight to undo. I don't know how tight these are going to be, mind you, but not too bad. There we go. Now you notice I've got the car jacked up, and if we had this level there would be gearbox oil coming out of here, but I'm hoping I've got the car jacked up enough so that there's no gearbox oil going to spill out. But I have got a container which I'll slide underneath in a second. There's the first bolt. Right, as you can probably see, I've just put a container under there now, and let's get the other two bolts out. Yeah, we've got a drop of oil coming out of there, so we may have to top up the gearbox oil afterwards to find out, to make sure that we've got the right amount in there. That's two of them out. There we go. Yeah, we've got quite a bit of oil coming out of there, so just something to be aware of. That's the three bolts out. Now, the drive shaft, as you can probably see, is now free. I'll pull it out there. And those are the three bolts I was talking about. And we need this rubber clip here, so we've got to take this off. And that's got to go back onto the new drive shaft. So, just something to be aware of. Right, that's it. That's the drive shaft out. There's the gearbox, there's the three prongs of the where the drive shaft sits, there's the three screws which you can probably see now. And looking down at the oil, we've got literally half a container full of gearbox oil there. So anyone says to you that they've had one of these and no oil's come out, I'd be a bit worried about that if I was you, because we've got literally loads and loads of oil come out. We've got the engine jacked up as well. Right, okay, let's get the new drive shaft. Okay, then here we are. We've got the old drive shaft and the new drive shaft together. Always good to lay them next to each other to make sure you've definitely got the right one. So as you can see, I'm looking at the length of the splines, the length of the end cap there, the Reluctor ring there. Everything's the same, coming right the way down the drive shaft to the end thing as well. The end bushing as well. So just make sure that you've got this and everything is correct. Now as you can see, we need this bracket here off of this one. So I've got to take this bracket off and put it on this one. That's the retaining bracket for the gearbox end. So I'm going to take that off now and get that done. Now this should just be straightforward. It should just push over there, or pull through rather. It's quite stiff, the rubber, so just be prepared to push it through. There we go, nice and simple. And this one's stiff as well, so that's got to go through there obviously. I think what we'll do, we'll narrow it. Push it narrow, get it on first, get it over the top by sliding it down the drive shaft. It's a bit awkward. There we go, so it's on the drive shaft now. Then bring it back into shape. There we go, like that, and then hopefully it should push into its little groove. Yeah, I think that'll pull in finally when it's when it goes into the hole, so that should tighten up nicely when it gets in there. So let's put this back in now. Okay then, I've got these three bolts in now. I've not done them up tight yet, but I've just put them in now. Obviously I've just nipped them up at the moment. What I'm going to do now is just to get the drive shaft in place by poking this through the hub here, as you can see, by taking this nut off the end there, and then I'll go through and make sure that everything's tightened up at the back there first. They don't have to be very tight. I think it's 25 Newton meters, something like that, but a good pull on the spanner or the socket wrench will obviously suffice. And then I'm going to fill the gearbox up as well with the remainder of that oil. You mustn't forget to do that, or you could probably put new oil in. Right, okay, let's get that light out of the way. It's very hard to show you this, but I've done the best I can, I think, with it, to show you, I mean. Now what I will do as well is just grease up the splines here. I've got some waterproof grease here, just to aid that in going in, and also if ever it comes out again. And hopefully we should be able to just slide that back into the hub now without too much trouble. And there we go, she's gone straight in. So I'm just going to locate my nut. I'm not going to do it up yet. We'll do that when we get it on the ground. But obviously before we do that, we need to get our bolts and nuts back in. Where did I put them? For our lower ball joint. So I ain't going to show you that, you've seen that already. I'm going to put them on and I'll see you in a minute. Right, so I've got the 3 bolts that are done up now to the gearbox, and I've also I've done up the lower ball joint bolts as well. The only thing I've got to tighten up and torque up now is the main axle nut, as you know, the drive shaft nut. And I can't do that at the moment because what I want to do now is to fill the oil up. I've got some new gearbox oil which I'm going to top up with. And what you have to do is to get the car on basically level. So I'm going to put it on its wheels, because the fill plug for this is down here. Let me show you. So this has got a modified air filter on here to our benefit, because down here, you probably can't see it. I'll get you in there. Down there is a little wing nut sort of thing on the side of the gearbox at the front, and you've got to undo that, and you've got to guide a hose in here and fill up from this direction here. You'll know when it's full because oil will start to dribble out of the hole. So I'm going to remove this from underneath now. As you can see, it's only hand tight. Look, I could probably do it from here. I don't know if you can see that. So I'll just undo that little plastic fill plug. There we go, as you can see there. That is the fill plug there, look. As you can see. And you've got to direct, as I say, the hose. Say something like this from above. But then you've got to sort of feed it into the hole and then sort of squeeze the gearbox oil into that hole until it starts to dribble out. So I'm going to do that now. And as I say, there's not really a lot I can show you there. Now you know the location of it at the front of the engine, at the bottom and on the side of the gearbox. So I'm going to carry on and do that now. And put the wheel on. And I'll see you in a minute. Okay, I've got the car back on the ground now. And I'm going to torque this up now to 280 Newton meters. Oh, there we go. Nice and tight, there we go. There we go, 280 Newton meters. So that's done up now. So just finish off doing the wheel nuts up with the breaker bar. Again, don't need to go too mad with these. Okay, there's that. Right, I'm going to do this gearbox now, so I'll see you in a minute. Right, okay, that's it now. You're going to need to take your air filter out to gain proper access to this, I think. So there you go, all I've got to do is now just to replace this little cap now, down there, and that's the job done. So that's how you change the drive shaft, or that's how I've changed the drive shaft on the little 1.2 Renault Clio. Jobs that can give you a hassle: undoing the bottom ball joint, lower ball joint bolts if you haven't got them clean, and if you haven't got a big enough lever, and you really need to hold back with the spanners on the top, as I said to you. But be prepared to wedge the spanners in there and do one turn at a time. That's the hardest part. And also refilling the gearbox oil up as well. It's a little bit tricky from this end. It would have helped if I would have had a longer hose, but I was able to get away with these containers here, as you can see, and that is probably long enough. But if you had it longer, it would make life a lot easier. Anyway, that's how I've done it. Do check out my other Renault Clio videos and also my other videos, and we'll see you in the next video. And until then, bye for now.